All right. Well, on that note, Juan Epstein's back.
Hey guys, I'm Juan
Epstein. What a.
No, I'm Juan. You're Epstein.
That's what I know. I'm saying.
You didn't say. I said I'm, and then you supposed to say I'm.
I think anyone who's heard this show's already heard it before, man. You think we're reaching new listeners today?
Yeah, the spillage is crazy.
Yeah, we're spreading out today. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the funniest gentlemen in the world, a Canadian.
You.
Oh my God.
You.
Well, hey.
Oh
No, talking about Tom Green.
Tom Green is
here.
Oh yeah, that would have been embarrassing if you weren't talking about me.
Yeah, he
I'd be
thought.
like, oh, thank you very much. No, I'm not.
I just like that's how I introduce Syfe every time we do it.
Yeah. Great to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Yo, thanks for being
Excited.
here, man.
I've been on tour, and you came to my show last time too.
I did. I was front and center. I brought my sister-in-law, my brother, and we were all quite amused, man. His show, Tom's show, is very, very different.
Yeah, I've been on the road since then, going all over the world doing stand-up comedy, and I'm back. The same club had me back, so it must have been a good thing, right?
Right.
At Comics.
Yeah, although Comics has Syfe back every month, so
okay.
you can see that their standards aren't.
Please.
Well,
Listen, I had my anniversary
pretty
show last week, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Super duper sold out. Don't listen to him.
Ram the fuck
cool.
out. Ram
now,
the
can you
fuck
send
out
out a tweet to all your Tweeter followers?
For you?
Tell them to come to my show.
We could work out some kind of trade.
Yeah.
We'll work out some kind of trade.
Yeah.
I think you should. It's a nice show.
If you can tweet it and then add me, and then I'll retweet it.
He'll retweet
I
his
don't know
own
if I
tweet.
want you talking to my, because I have like a lot of hot chicks on my.
I'm not gonna lie,
well,
Tom.
well,
He has
definitely.
a lot of hot chicks.
definitely.
Your celebrity status might steal them away because I'm barely holding on to
Well,
them.
I hope
man.
that's true, and we could make that happen. Would be great because I'm only in town for a weekend, really.
That's
so.
your line.
That's a pimp status right there, man.
I'm only in town for the weekend, man.
Yeah,
Have you been taking advantage of the time on the road, being a single gentleman, traveling the world, headlining your own show?
It's been pretty good. Yeah, it's been pretty good. It's been good. You got to be careful, because you got to pay. I'm trying to pay attention to the comedy. I'm trying to stay focused. I'm taking this seriously. I'm taking this comedy thing seriously. So I've actually I'm trying to cut back on a lot of fun things in life, like alcohol, marijuana.
Oh.
I actually have a girlfriend now too.
You do?
Right.
I have a nice girlfriend now, and there's a very good chance she's listening to this show.
She follows your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, does she follow it because she wants to enjoy it?
Very good on the road.
Very good. Does she follow your stuff because she enjoys it, or is it because she wants to check up on what the fuck you're doing?
No, I actually have a feeling she probably might not listen to too much of the stuff that I do. She doesn't really check up on me like that. She's cool.
She a regular
That's
girl?
Cool. Yeah, nice girl.
Not famous.
Good job.
Yeah, she works at a doctor's office. Yeah,
Yes, that's
absolutely.
the best.
Oh my God, that's like
That
the
is the
character in Freddie Got Fingered.
Yes, it is.
It's
Yeah.
like how you went and met her.
It's like Betty. It's like
Betty.
Betty and Freddie Got Fingers.
Freddie Got Fingered. Syfe, I can't believe you haven't seen Freddie
I
Got
haven't
Fingered.
seen it yet. Does that have anything to do with, are they sticking fingers in places where they don't
They don't.
belong?
They talk about it. They talk about Freddie getting fingered.
That's ultimately the big surprise.
Yeah.
Is that finger does actually mean what you think it means.
Yeah. There's no. It's not
It
it.
was actually a thing when we made the movie and we submitted the title to the Motion Picture Association of America, the MPAA. We submitted the title with a poster, a mock-up of a poster, and it was of me pointing at a guy, right? And so they assumed that it meant like, oh, you fingered the guy, you
pointed him out.
pointed something out,
Yeah.
right? And then when they saw the movie, they were mad at me, but they'd already approved the title, and once they approve the title, they can't
Go back on it.
an approval. This is actually a legal situation that we got into. And so probably one that I shouldn't be talking about on the radio, to be honest with you.
It's one episode.
Yeah,
Nobody.
but,
It's fine. It's fine.
No,
It's a podcast.
it was kind of funny, but then they kind of came down on me pretty hard on the content in the movie. Gave it an NC whatever rating.
Was NC-17 when it hit theaters?
No. Initially, because I directed the movie too, so I was editing it and everything. So I submitted like a 3-hour version of the movie with lots of blood, lots of liquid, lots of strangeness. And then they sort of send back notes. So you can't have this. There's too much blood in this thing. So then I sort of condensed it all down to the nice hour-and-a-half movie that it is. But
It'll be amazing when you see it, Syfe, to know that that's the condensed version.
I want to see the 3-hour version. You got that on DVD or something?
yeah, well, you know what? Honestly, it's exactly what it was supposed to be in that department as far as the strangeness of it. I purposely gave them that 3-hour version.
Oh, so they would cut out and leave the stuff
yeah,
you wanted.
it was sort of a little trick that I did.
That's
a
a
red herring.
You're a smart guy, Tom.
You got to give them something to say no to. That's what I learned when I was doing my show. When I started out my show on public access, I do all this stuff. And sometimes we would do something that was just so over the top that we knew they would never let it on the air, but we'd shoot it anyways, so that then the executives would have that good feeling of going, oh yeah, I got to say
shit,
no.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing my job
Not
here.
doing that.
Yeah, I told them what to do, and that's cool. But it's just we just did stuff on purpose to get edited out. So then they would leave the crazy stuff in.
Did it make you feel bad that Freddy Got Fingered literally got some of the worst reviews in the history of film?
I wasn't expecting it to be so harsh, but
They were because I loved the movie.
but I will
so I read the
say
reviews.
the
They were
New
mean.
York Times, which is all that counts, gave it an amazing review.
Really?
And it's actually printed on the inside of the DVD box cover.
Damn
I like
right
it so
it
much.
is.
I believe they actually called the movie brilliant, and you can read that review. It's online, and there were some the smart people that really watched the movie got it and understood that I was kind of making fun of movies in general, making fun of the idea of making a comedy movie. That's what the movie was all about, making it so stupid that it flipped over and became outrageous and ridiculous and funny. But there was that's the thing about the media. I mean, they behave like a pack of wolves. It's a very if it goes in one direction, everybody starts saying one thing. And with comedy in general, it's hard to do. That's why you see a lot of comedians, as they get older, stop doing the outrageous stuff because I think they just can't handle getting these sort of, douchey, local newspaper reporters writing this horrible stuff about them, when, it's obviously the intent was. I remember when I was a kid, one of my favorite actors is Jim Carrey, okay? When I was a kid, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective came out. And the local paper in my town, the Ottawa Citizen, which has, been nice to me over the years, but, they also will have written bad reviews over the years too. And they write, oh, this is just a movie, a guy talking out of his ass and all this stuff, right? And I'm reading this going, who the hell wrote this? Do you people not get this? I mean, it's obviously supposed to be stupid, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I say when people talk to me about Freddy Got Fingered, about how he got a bad review or whatever. It's like I wasn't trying to make the jazz singer here, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to make
My left foot?
Yeah. It was supposed to be crazy. So
I saw this comedian last night. Comedian Godfrey?
yeah, I know Godfrey. Yeah, he's
saw him
really
at the
cool.
cellar last night, and he said he got into a little argument with a heckler, and he was like, "Yo, you know how fucking hard this job is?" He's like, "This job is." He starts
You
explaining.
can swear on this?
Yeah, we're podcasts.
That's fucking cool, man.
Yeah, man.
Go fucking after it.
Fucking love that.
And he's like, "Yo, doing comedy is harder than fucking drama."
Yeah.
He's like, no one goes to a drama movie and go, "Yo, you better make me motherfucking cry, or I'm leaving this shit."
Exactly.
But when you go to a comedy, you be like, "Yo, this shit better be funny."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yo, this guy is fucking."
That's one of the reasons I think I don't like stand-up. I don't think I'd be good at stand-up, but I think I'm really good on the radio. People don't turn on Hot 97 and go, "These motherfuckers better make me laugh."
Yeah.
They're just turning on the radio.
Yeah.
And then I hit them and they laugh.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you do a comedy club, it's
no.
all right, Jew boy, be as funny as you are on the radio. And I don't think that I would be. I think I disappoint.
When I first started doing stand-up, I almost gave up. And this guy, Colin Kane, the comedian Colin Kane, he was like, "Nah, man, you gotta bomb. You gotta embrace it. You gotta love it." I'm like, I don't love it, man. It feels like shit.
Have you? Now, you've had an interesting road to comedy, too, though, because you did stand-up after you became a big star.
Well, I did stand up as a teenager, too.
Oh, yeah, I just read that when you were 15 years old.
And I did it when I was in high school for about 3 years. Really, I took it really seriously, too. I wasn't like I just did it a couple times. I did it for about 3 years. I was getting up twice a week doing it, and eventually was doing middle spots and stuff. But I was too young to do it then, and I experienced bombing at that time. I would have grid sets. I would have a night where I just didn't hit it right, and those were tough nights.
But bombing at 16.
Yeah, it was tough in front of a bunch of drunk college students, and I'm 16 years old, haven't had sex yet, It's like, well, how am I supposed to make these people laugh? You're sitting here talking about, adult stuff, and I don't even know what the fuck's going on with the world and shit, right? But now it's a lot different, Still haven't had sex, but no, that's not true. But but the thing is, you're an adult now, and as an adult, you kind of, I kind of feel like I have a lot more opinions about things. I'm definitely a lot more comfortable. A little bit more comfortable, at least, as an adult than I was as a teenager. So I haven't had a bad experience this year, actually. To be honest with you, I've been having a great time on the road. But I remember what it was like when I was 16 on those odd nights. It's not fun.
Not to sound like a researched interview here,
yeah.
But speaking of bad experiences, I read that on a fishing trip you almost got yourself killed.
Yeah, I almost was killed. So this is the thing. This is why I kind of...
I read that.
Yeah, I almost was killed about 3 years ago. I got hit by a wave. I was in Costa Rica by myself, standing on a rock in the ocean, at the edge of the ocean with a fishing rod. And
Literally by yourself? Just
by myself, yeah. And I'm from Ottawa, Canada. There's no ocean there,
No.
I didn't grow up around the ocean. Nobody told me that, like, every once in a while there's a wave that is way bigger than all the other waves, the rogue wave. So I was sitting there, the waves are splashing, they're hitting the rocks in front of me. Okay, this is no big deal. It's hitting the rock and it's landing in front of me. So I'll just stand back here and I'll be fine. And I looked down, I was putting a shrimp on my hook, and then I looked up and this wave was coming at the rock, and it was like 12-foot high wave or something above the rock. And I go, okay, I'm going to die now, I basically said, was instantly said. And I sort of went into the slow motion kind of, everything went into slow motion, basically. This is what's kind of good about it, the fact that I didn't die. The good thing about it is I have sort of a post-traumatic stress disorder thing that's happened.
That's a bonus.
Where basically what happens is, once you go through a violent accident like that, if you've ever been, I don't know if you've ever been hit by a car or anything like that. This was my getting hit by a car moment. Your mind expands. You're only using like 2% of your brain at any given time. All of a sudden, you're using like 98% of your brain, and it's basically like time slows down. I looked, the wave hit, it exploded. I saw it explode. I saw a wall of water coming towards me. I turned. I looked where I was going to end up flying. It was going to shoot me off these rocks onto these jagged rocks. Right.
Jeez.
I braced myself to get the impact of the wave. I knew it was ridiculous to try to lean into the wave, but I leaned into this wave, and then it was just like I was like a fly getting swatted off this rock. And then I was in the air, everything in slow motion. It felt like I had minutes, I was in the air, flying through the air now, and I turned my body all the way around, and then I came down like this on the rocks, got my head up, came down, rocks here.
Rocks to the chest, rocks to the head.
Chest, rocks to the arm that was protecting my head, because I grew up skateboarding, right? So I had my skateboard.
That's a natural
stance.
thing to put your arm on your head.
Yeah, well, it was literally the thing I'm trying to explain here. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but everything slowed down so much that I had 1 second I was going to be in the air, but I was able to determine, okay, that rock is going to hit my head, get my arm between the rock and my head.
Shit.
And I did that, and that's probably the reason I'm alive. But I did break 2 ribs. I had to... I came out of the water. I was covered in blood, and it was a horrible month after that, actually. So
it crashed first. Did it crash on top of you?
It hit the rocks. The water hits the rocks, and then explodes up, and then a wall of water forms, which is coming very fast at you. And it was basically like getting hit by a bus. And then I got thrown off basically a ledge of rock about as high as the ceiling here, and flew through the air, and then came down on this sort of sharp volcanic rock.
Where was this?
In Costa Rica.
Oh, Costa Rica.
Yeah, so, you got to be careful, man. Never turn your back to the ocean. I wish I'd heard that term before. Never turn your back to the ocean.
That what people told you afterwards?
Yeah, afterwards.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Tom, never turn your...
Yeah, that's what they told me after.
But you didn't know? Never turn your back
Never
to the
turn your
ocean?
back. But although, I'm not going to lie, waves are something that scare the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah.
And so does undercurrent. There's a lot about fucking water in general that just scares the shit out of me.
You go to the
And
beach.
the power's too... It's just too much power.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do against the power of the ocean.
Oh, it's outrageous.
It's like Hulkamania.
Yeah, it's outrageous. The day before, I was almost killed by the ocean, too. And I actually decided to go fishing
Instead of going
as a way
instead
to
of going
not-
surfing. Because the day before I tried to go surfing, I don't know how to surf, but I just got in the surfboard, and I went down to this beach, and I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we went down to this beach, and it was just me and her on this beach in the middle of Costa Rica. And I'm going to go try surfing. And I got my surfboard, and I went out, and then I sort of was trying to catch a wave, and then I was just sort of floating around out there, and then all of a sudden I realized that I was about 14 football fields distance out into the ocean. I'd been sort of sucked out on this board, right? So now I had to try to swim in on the board. So I'm trying to swim in on this board, and it took me about 2 hours to get in because I kept getting sucked out. It was like getting sucked out, kept getting pulled out. So then I thought, okay, you got to go parallel to the water. That's what they say when you're out there. You got to go parallel to the beach. So I'm going parallel to the beach one way, and then eventually. But I remember, like, I was out there trying to, and I would get off the board and try to swim like this because I figured maybe I don't know how to swim on the board, right? And then the board's like dragging on the thing on my foot, and I'm thinking if that thing had come off my foot, I'd be dead. I'd be dead.
Because you needed to float on the fucking board.
Yeah, I was exhausted, and then my girlfriend at the time, who, well, she's not listening. She probably wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer, right? Was sort of on the beach waving at me, and I was like way out there, out of earshot, and I was waving, help, 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 call an ambulance, and then she was on the beach like, oh, hi, how are you? You know, and so then finally, after an hour and a half, exhausted, I finally got in enough. I realized I went this way on the beach, then I went this way along, and then finally I got in enough that I caught this massive wave, and I just lay down on the board, and it dragged me in on this wave, and I came stumbling up on the beach, exhausted, could hardly breathe, and I was like, did you call an ambulance? She said, what? Are you okay? I thought you were a little far out there. So then the next day, she had to leave because she had to go back to Los Angeles to like audition for like a Cottonelle commercial or some crap like that, right? So she left, and then I had other friends coming down to visit me. So she left, and then the next day I had 2 days, and then the day after that, so I thought, okay, I have 1 day off on my holiday here by myself. Then my other friends are coming in to visit me. I'm just going to go fishing. I'm going to take it easy. Quiet fishing on the rocks. I'm not going to do anything too crazy. I'm going to go down to the restaurant at the hotel. Ask them if they have some raw shrimp. I bought a new fishing rod. Go out in the rocks, cast it out. Slam. Next thing you know, I'm in the hospital. I was hospitalized for a month. I'm still in pain. I guess still in pain from that.
Don't go to Costa Rica.
Don't go to...
No, it's a beautiful country, though. Beautiful country.
Beautiful animals, I hear.
Yeah, you just got to be careful.
You're an animal guy.
Yeah, I have...
He's an animal lover guy.
Yeah, I have 2 Siberian Huskies and
Siberian
a parrot.
Huskies.
Yeah.
I like... my girlfriend's family used to have Samoyeds. So we're into Samoyeds and Huskies and all the sort of big...
Dogs?
Snow dogs.
Or just Samoan people?
Not Samoans.
Yeah, I was getting mixed up.
The Samoyeds, they're like snow dogs also. They're related to... They're like Husky family.
Yeah,
Same,
like the Alaskan Malamute kind of thing.
they're in the family of the Malamutes and the Huskies and all those dogs.
What are you guys talking about? Dogs?
Yeah, dogs.
Yeah,
You're Puerto
dogs.
Rican. You don't... The only dogs you have is like a little...
I like
fucking-
dogs, but I refuse to pick up dog shit, so I won't get one.
Yeah.
I understand that.
The
Do you have a big
Huskies-
enough yard where you don't have to pick up the dog shit?
No, I pick up a lot of shit going on.
I cannot.
I
My
know.
dogs will never. I can't train them to shit in the right place. Do they? They always they just go shit by the pool,
Hold on one second.
which was never
What are you
shit by
saying,
the pool.
Terrence?
By the way, that's something that I've learned in life as a human to never
What?
do.
Not to
Hold on
shit
one
by the...
second.
Don't
Hold
shit
on.
by.
Hold
don't
on.
shit when you
Terrence, what's
swim.
up?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask him, if you don't mind, the guys with Jackass, the movie that got great
Yeah.
success or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Why
absolutely.
is he out of nowhere? Why are you coming out of
No,
nowhere?
yeah,
We're going to get there.
And we already covered that last time.
We
I just wanted to hear from it's the podcast, so I figured I could jump in.
And so if you jump in the middle of one
This
story,
is Juan
unrelated.
and Epstein. Who are you? Fucking Tyrone from next
Yeah,
door?
well, fuck
Turn
Tyrone.
your fucking box off, man.
Kind of cool though. That's
No.
nice question. Evan.
He's a nice guy. We're gonna get. We're
They
gonna
talking about
they just
dogs.
had a very successful weekend. Jackass 3D.
Jackass 3D. Maybe
you-
the first.
And I have some friends in there, Jackass guys, or friends of mine. Well, a couple of those guys. Steve-O and is a good pal of mine.
You like Steve-O?
Oh yeah, he's actually a friend of mine, and we've become good buddies over the past couple of years because he comes and does my web show all the time. So it's cool.
I really want to come to your web show.
Yeah, I'd love you guys to come to my
I
web show.
really.
You're all invited.
That was the coolest. When you started that show, that was a real inspiration for me. That was one of the first. You're one of the people who really started taking advantage of the possibilities. Because you're probably like me in this, and that I always think when I meet kids now who want to get into the business at all, I just go, my God, man, if you take the time and save up, you can have your own fucking show. You
Yep.
can just do it.
Yep.
And you really did it. Like you have the actual TV style show in your living room.
In my living room. I'm thinking this year I may move it out of the living room. I know this
What
is
room?
this is
Really?
breaking news, but
Like the pool
in
house?
the web video world. But I'm thinking I might move it into sort of a off-site facility, like a little studio or maybe a little theater of some sort. I started doing a podcast about 3 weeks ago. Kevin Smith, the director, has this thing called the Smodcastle, which you can check out online. It's thesmodcastle.com. And he does his podcast, which is a huge podcast that he does out of this little theater. It's a little 50-seat theater in Los Angeles. And,
That's super cool.
And it's really fun because he does it in front of an audience, 50-person audience, a paying audience. People pay for tickets to go.
We've talked about doing. We did this once. We did a paying audience once.
Yeah. It's cool.
It was too big
Like
a room.
that thing I told you the other day they did at comics.
Yeah, they do
What's
it at
cool about
comics
this is
sometimes,
50 seats, so it's really
Tiny.
It's small. It's about the size of this studio if you include the whole room here, the other room and everything. So it's a little bigger than that, but it's just 50 seats, and it's pretty cool. I interview.
stepping on my
There you go.
Nikes,
I'm just
bro.
playing footsies with you under the table there. That's kind of nice. Well,
Means war in New York City. I mean, I'll let you slide one time.
I don't know. Well, you put your foot there. I mean, what are you, Larry Craig or something like that?
Tapped twice.
I thought we were in a bathroom in Minnesota or something like that. But no, but I don't know what I'm talking about. But no, so.
But you may move out now to do your show. You said you're to move out and do the web
that's
show.
right. Yeah. So I had such a. It just drives you a little crazy having the studio in the house after 4. I've been doing the show for 4 years. I've done hundreds of shows there. I've had tons of great guests. But the studio's still there, so you can come down to L.A. soon.
I would love to do. I would love to.
But if it's not in the house anymore, we'll do it.
Do you make any money from the web
little
show?
bit? Yeah, a little bit here and there.
Like
It's paid for itself.
It's paid
the
for
whole
itself.
Studio has been paid for. I've covered the cost of my employees. I do make some money. I have a subscription service that people can sign up for, so you can get access to all of the content on the site. So if you go to tomgreen.com, you can watch tons of free content. There's lots of free shows, but after you've watched all the free stuff, you can watch the live show for free. But then we've also got hundreds of hours of content in our archives, and people can pay $5.95 a month. If you got an extra $5 or $6 kicking around in your pocket, you get a couple hundred hours of Webovision. Yep. And so we've got a lot of subscribers on there, so that's been good. We've had sponsors come and go over the years, and I'm actually also now going to try to find a way. This year, the thing that I'm trying to do now is learn how to distribute the content. We're going to try to get the content on cell phones. See, this is all the thing that's opening up now. You can sell video content to cell phone distribution and make money that way. So this is sort of the new thing that's opening up now with all the new phones that watch video and people watching video. So it's an interesting time. I think there's definitely some money to be made there.
You've had a pretty. You had a pretty interesting run, though. I always remember thinking about Tom, that you're like, I guess I always related to the cable access thing as someone who did college radio for years and years and always was like hustling to do my own little shit. And you went from like little Canadian cable access show to really, you had that like year and a half run when it started was such a fucking quick blow up to fucking marrying a celebrity and having your own big fucking movies. And you had this whole, it just seemed like it must have been weird. It seemed like you didn't fit in. I remember thinking, like, does this guy really fit into this the Hollywood bullshit?
Yeah, especially because, I sort of think that a big part of my show was kind of making fun of the Hollywood bullshit, as you put it. And then to be living in Hollywood all of a sudden was definitely a bit of a whiplash effect. But, and then also I got sick at the same time. I got cancer at the same time. So that was really what kind of was, I think, the extra bit that put it over the edge. If you're asking if how I handled it, I don't know if I handled it well, to be honest with you. I think I went a little crazy. But that's fine.
Were you
I think
little
I lost it a little bit. But you know what? I've had time to think about it, and I've gone on some nice fishing trips, and
we heard.
No, I think it was a lot to handle. I was actually talking about this with my friend last night because the show started here in New York, and MTV moved me to New York, and it was a very exciting time. And I was walking around Midtown because I'm staying downtown at the Paramount, which has rooms that are about half the size of this room that we're in.
Real.
I woke up this morning. I felt like I was in solitary confinement. It was literally the
downtown
room,
hotels are insane.
I get stressed out in that hotel room that I'm in. The hotel room is so small, like my feet are touching the door handle of the door.
From your bed.
From the bed. It's the most absurd thing I've ever been in my life. But so things are going well. I'm in a hotel room the size of a.
You made it.
I've made it.
Box.
No, but but that's fine. I'm staying somewhere else next week though. Comics has got me in a nice place. I'm just in town to talk to you guys. I'm actually going to Arizona State University tomorrow. I just came into town to come do your radio show and do a couple of shows in town here. I was just over on the Opie and Anthony show, and I did some TV stuff for the day. Now I'm going to Arizona State University tomorrow.
Show?
Doing a show at Arizona State University, then flying back to do the shows at Comics this week.
Well, your girlfriend should know that there are no attractive women at Arizona State
Arizona
University.
has some of the ugliest women.
Some of the ugliest women in the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to worry about that.
Absolutely. No.
Disgusting.
She doesn't have to be worried, though. My girlfriend's
She's secure.
incredibly good looking.
Is she black?
Yes, she is, actually.
She is?
Yeah.
Are you being serious?
How'd I know that?
Why'd you ask that?
I was making a joke.
Yeah.
Why would that be funny?
I have no idea.
Why would it be funny? You think a Canadian man can't date a black
No,
woman?
I don't know why for some reason the Mad Men guy popped in my head, and I was like, is she black? I was like, he's gonna be like, no, she's not black, but she really is black.
Her mother's black. Yeah.
Half black. Mother black. I've never met with a woman whose mother was black. It's always father was black.
Yeah.
They shake out differently depending on whose mother or father is.
She's black. Yeah, she's black. But
She counts.
I don't know if I wanted to start talking. I don't know.
Don't go into detail.
I've never talked about my girlfriend on the radio.
I don't fucking
before.
want to know, man.
This is interesting. I've never talked about my girlfriend on the
Really?
radio before. Yeah, you guys really dig in there.
We get in.
there. You
know
get
what
to
it is?
the
'Cause
root of the.
we go sideways with it. You're not expecting it. Then
Yeah.
it's like that
Is she
wave.
black?
Yeah, it was definitely. Well, you definitely.
Is she black?
Very perceptive. Yeah.
That's the name of this show today.
Yeah.
That's the name of the podcast.
Is she black? Now, speaking of black,
Yeah.
you were a pretty big hip hop kid as well. You had some interest. Your skating crossed into some hip hop interest, right?
When I was a kid, I was in a rap group when I was a teenager.
With who was that
we had a
group?
group called Organized Rhyme. We were only released in Canada. We had a record deal when I was a teenager, and there's video on YouTube. Our song was called "Check the OR." You can go check that out. It was fun. It was a fun thing. I make beats. I still make beats. I made a lot of beats. So like back in the day, I was like making beats. Before anybody was really even listening to, like in my high school, nobody listened to rap music. I was in Canada, everyone was listening to
They weren't listening to Maestro Fresh West?
Yeah, that was on the radio, but my high school was a very preppy kind of high school. Everyone was listening to the Eagles and all this stuff.
Nirvana, maybe.
Yeah, that was a little later, but yeah.
What high school? How old are you?
I'm 39, just turned 39.
Oh,
So
you're a young guy.
they were listening to like Huey Lewis and Bryan Adams and stuff like that. I like Bryan Adams too, though.
No disrespect. And you were already fucking with hip hop.
We were listening to me and my friends were listening to. Maestro Fresh West was the only rap music that was playing on the radio in Canada. Other than that, they weren't playing, Boogie Down Productions or Tribe Called Quest or De La Soul or Public Enemy on the radio.
And that was what you were into, though.
That was kind of music I listened to. And I had like an Akai S900 sampler, and then I had a Roland U20 keyboard, and I had it synced together with SMPTE track hooked up to an Atari 1040 ST with this little weird little sequencing software, and then I had it all synced in SMPTE into a Tascam Porta 5 cassette.
He's talking your language right now.
I love it right now.
Cassette 4-track, right? And so I'd like
one track with the SMPTE.
Yeah. So then I'd put the SMPTE track, would sync it all together. So all we'd put was the vocals would be the only thing that would go into the 4-track. And then we'd run it all through a mixer, and I'd record it onto a little DAT recorder, a digital audio tape recorder. And then we'd have our DAT tapes, and we'd have our masters on DAT tape. And then we'd go do shows all around. We'd bring our DAT recorder. We'd have our DJ with two 1200s and our DAT recorder, and we'd play the beats back that I made off the DAT and scratch over the beats.
It's crazy that now you could record your beats and then instantly have them on Serato and have your DJ cutting it.
That's what I think. That's why I do my web show, because I was into that technical stuff, making beats and hooking computers up together when I was 16 years old. And now all of a sudden there's all this technology. So now I've built a studio in my house. I have a little Pro Tools recording studio at home with a little MPC and a keyboard and things like that.
So you still fuck around a little bit?
Yeah, I still make beats.
No turntables in the crib?
I've been meaning to hook up. I have a 1200, but it's not hooked up. I've got to hook it up. And I have two CDJs turntables. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
At the studio, because we had a lot of rappers come on the show, and so when Flavor Flav came on the show, I had the Bring the Noise instrumental queued up on our turntable in the studio.
Let him get busy.
And I dropped that, and I rapped Bring the Noise with Flavor Flav, which was like
that's a dream come true.
I did the Chuck D part. I put on the Pittsburgh Pirates hat, and I did the
Perfect.
Chuck D part, and then Flav just kicked in. I didn't even tell Flavor Flav didn't even tell him that I was gonna do that. I was just sort of like, here's the. I just handed him a mic and started rapping the Chuck D part, and he kicked right in, and we did the whole track. It's up on TomGreen.com. It's on YouTube.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
I rapped with Exhibit. There's a video I did with Exhibit where Exhibit came on, and I just started rapping to him, and then he started laughing, and then I handed him a mic, and it's up on YouTube.
You did a song. The song you did at the end of your show last time, I actually thought had some legs.
I did a song, called "I Don't Give a Fuck." This was called.
I thought that actually could work.
Talking about all the shit I don't give a fuck about, but I guess I don't always do the rap at the stand-up show, but it's been sometimes I kick in and do it.
I thought it went over pretty well.
You got to feel the vibes.
Yeah, I did that. I did that for you. Yeah,
that was nice. I appreciate it. We were into it. We thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's fun.
This is sort of a semi-personal question, so feel free to blow it off.
Don't ask him about his girlfriend and if she's black because it got awkward.
I want to talk about your black girlfriend.
Shit.
I don't think it got awkward. Didn't it get awkward?
No.
Everything's awkward to me.
Syfe, you're a pretty awkward guy. How like are you still balling? Are you still sitting on dough from the movies and TV shit? I mean, because now you're grinding, you're on the road. I know the comedy game isn't like insanely lucrative, and you do the podcast.
You guys really get into it. This is another thing that I'd never have talked about on the radio.
Oh, well, I always wonder. I'm like,
whether or not I'm broke or not.
Yeah, like is Tom Green popping off? Did you buy a house then?
Like people think we're fucking rolling.
People think we're rich. Yeah. We don't make shit. So
and for morning show standards, like morning show, the lowest you could get, how it used to be, we would actually be living pretty good. Yeah. But that shit all fucking changed.
Yeah, the shit
get like
changed.
a regular salary.
So we have a pretty regular salary. So I always wonder when guys who were very successful, but your career has taken different twists and turns. You're still very well known, but you're not exactly sponsor friendly. You know what I mean? There's your old reputation wasn't, at least. So I wonder, how does a guy like Tom Green do? Is it a grind, or are you still sitting on cake?
No, I mean I'm doing okay. I'm definitely I'm doing okay. I feel very lucky. In a lot of ways. I'm very privileged to have gotten that break that I got by MTV. MTV gave me a major break. Yeah. I was, living in my parents' basement in Canada doing a public access TV show, and they gave me a major break. And I really have nothing but amazing things to say about MTV. Because it gave me a lot of opportunities. I got to make some movies and. Yeah, I mean, I just saved my money up, but I'm not like rolling in dough or anything like that. I'm working. I've been working, done 200 shows this year. Been on the road nonstop. Just trying to keep.
So you're doing good, but you have to work. It's not like you can sit and rest on your laurels forever.
Well, it just depends. I work because I want to work. I mean, I guess in theory I could move back to Canada and get a little cabin out in the woods somewhere and just sort of sit in it for the rest of my life and stare at a tree or something like that. I could do that, but I mean, I'd probably go crazy. I mean, I'm doing stand-up because it's something that I love doing. I've always wanted to sort of really challenge myself with actually trying to really perfect. At least get up on stage and be able to do that. And it's when I was 15 years old, I was a huge fan of stand-up, and I was down at the club and watching people like Harland Williams and Norm Macdonald come through, and I was like, man, that's what I want to do.
I would see that.
And so I'm doing it for the love of it. It's not necessarily that I'm doing it for the money, but it's okay to be able to be working every day.
No,
too.
I did stand-up the other night. I got $30.
$30?
Yeah,
I'm rolling in.
Good for you.
Woo.
You're living out there.
Yeah.
Did you? What was of those things when it was really going crazy? You were at the height of it.
I didn't really answer your question though, did I?
No, not fully, but it's okay.
No,
you said you said you're pretty good. You said you're pretty good.
I'm doing okay.
You said you're straight. I think that's a fair answer.
You have more movies and stuff, or you want to get more movies?
Yeah. There's another one I'm hoping to shoot this year. We're kind of working with a movie company right now that may come in and finance this movie that I'm going to write and shoot up in Canada. And there's another one that's in the can. There's a movie called Prank Star that's going to come out later this year. But
I saw that on your Wikipedia page. That's your movie too?
Yeah.
What was the biggest at the time when you were at your height? What of those things was the biggest payday for you? Was Freddie Got Fingered a big payday up front or no? Was that money all spent? Was that money you were spending?
I'll tell you if I don't have to tell you how much they paid me.
Yeah. You don't have to tell me.
It was a lot.
Oh, because it was a lot of money. For which thing?
Stealing Harvard.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
For your little cameo, you were not a cameo. You had a smaller role.
Stealing Harvard. Which one was
Wait, no. Sir, that Stealing Harvard. Road Trip was more your cameo. You were basically co-star of that.
Got a massive payday.
That's where you had the snake.
No, that's Road Trip.
That was Road Trip.
Road Trip.
That was the first movie I was ever in.
Yeah, Road Trip was.
Yeah, and Freddie Got Fingered was pretty good.
What's Stealing Harvard again?
Stealing Harvard was a movie I did with Jason Lee.
I saw it in the theater. It was about kids trying to get into Harvard, or what's it?
Yeah,
yeah.
We had to raise some money to get into Harvard. But that movie was sort of like it was a bigger one.
And that
was right after Road Trip, and Road Trip did really well.
Yeah, and you kind of stole the show. The scenes with you and the fucking mice and the snake were pretty hilarious.
Road Trip, yeah.
So that I knew, I could tell Stealing Harvard was like the one after.
Yeah.
That's the one where you look at the check and like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's the cake I'm sitting on.
That's Stealing Harvard, stealing money.
Some Stealing Harvard cake.
Good for you. That always makes me happy.
Yeah.
So let's ask the question about, even though we never did on the podcast, we asked him before off the air. We never even asked him on the air. Your feelings on Jackass, because like I think
But I was off the air?
yeah, it was off the air.
I thought we did on-
Because like Terrence was alluding to when he so rudely interrupted.
No, I like Jackass a lot. I haven't seen the new movie yet, but I like Steve-O's has been a real cool guy with me. I mean, and we've become friends. And
Did they ever pay homage though? Because we know you.
Steve-O has.
You father the style.
Steve-O has on my web show.
Came on there.
Did they ever pay homage anywhere else? Anywhere? No.
Because we know. Because the people who were in it then.
Does Johnny Knoxville go on Letterman and talk about how, hey, when we fell down on crutches on the street and people came and helped us? Or, hey, when, I dressed up as an old man, got in an electric wheelchair and went crashed into stuff? Or, hey, when we jumped in the water with sharks? Or, hey, when we wake up our parents? Or, hey, we light ourselves on fire? Or, hey, when we do all this gross stuff? Like Tom Green did that exact bit on MTV right before we started our show. Has he ever done that? No, he's never done that. Have they sent me a check? No, they've never sent me a check. But Steve-O's done my web show. So I'm good with those guys.
All right, you gotta. That's a good way to handle it. That's a
What's
good
those
way.
And the
other
thing
guys
is,
in Canada?
you know what? It's cool. I understand why they like doing all those bits that I did. They were good bits.
No, it went really well.
Yeah.
Your show did fantastic.
Those were good bits. I can see why they wanted to go do them exactly shot for shot. But the thing is I'm keeping busy. They're keeping busy. They're keeping really busy.
Yeah. 3D.
Yeah. It's cool. I mean, those guys are, internationally have a huge international hit movie, and I'm playing in Cleveland next weekend. So
Hello,
it's cool.
Cleveland.
Things are going good. No, but it's cool. I'm really happy
Now
for
you're
those
gonna
guys.
get a payday, Tom.
Really happy for those guys. And the thing is what's good for it's good for the gross out genre, which I feel like the shock, goofy guerrilla comedy genre. I'm kidding around, of course. There's no bitterness here. No bitterness. But I actually am about to go make another movie myself. Okay. And it's I'm going to actually go back. I'm going to go out. I'm going to get back and I'm going to hit the streets. And I'm going to do some of the stuff that I did originally that you've seen people like Borat and Jackass and everybody do. I'm going to go do my version of a movie like that. And this only helps the whole genre of reality comedy movies. I'm able to now go and make a movie that's sort of similar and
Get funding for it easily.
Yeah, so it's like
successful.
maybe I'll just sort of like ride that wave. Everyone's gonna in a year from now, my movie is gonna come out in a year or two from now, and everyone's gonna be saying to those guys, hey, how do you feel about that Tom Green guy ripping
off Jackass.
Yeah.
Ripping
So
off Jackass.
I really, really hope that happens. I really, really hope that happens.
Now you're gonna hit a payday, yo. You're too funny and you're too smart.
Yeah.
And you're talented and you're
He's
humble.
still sitting on his stealing Harvard
That
money,
cake,
man.
I ate a lot of that cake, man. I got to tell you.
Did you blow it? Did you blow the
You
cake?
can blow through cake pretty fast in this world.
A lot
man.
of weed out in Cali too, and you were
Absolutely.
smoking.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, a lot of weed. Yeah. I cut back on that.
You not smoke at all, or you smoke less now?
I quit smoking entirely about 3 or 4 days ago. So I'm completely off of it.
How's that feel?
It feels good. It feels good.
I think people in Cali smoke so much that it's almost like you're not even high anymore. It's just
I never
degrees
smoked
of-
marijuana growing up. I didn't smoke it. Never had touched it until I was 23 years old. I tried it for the first time. Freaked out. Had a major panic attack. Said I would never touch it
Sounds
again.
like me.
A few years later, tried it again. Same thing. Panic attack. Then I moved to L.A. A few years later, said I would never touch it again. Moved to L.A. Tried it again in L.A. and
It worked out. that
it's
time.
pretty good actually.
Actually, I was wrong. I like this.
So then, for a couple of years, I did, but I've decided that it's something that I don't want to do. I'm actually quitting drinking as well. I think it's all got to do with being on the road. I'm on the road doing stand-up, and it's a very grueling schedule. You're traveling all the time. I just need to keep my energy up. Getting up early in the morning to do radio shows and stuff, and it's just not fun. Coming on a show in the morning when you're exhausted
pounding,
and hungover and messed up on weed and not to mention all the blow I'd been doing. No, I'm just joking. I've never done cocaine.
Never done cocaine.
Never done cocaine. Never done cocaine.
Me neither.
Never shot heroin into my eye or between my toes or anything like that.
Good.
I can show you between my toes after the interview.
All
if
right,
you want.
good. I
There's
wanna
no
see.
needle marks, nothing. No, I'm very clean. I was always very clean. Never done acid. Never done mushrooms.
Never done it. So weed and drink.
Yeah.
How are you so crazy? Like
You're a Looney Tune.
It's a hyperactivity sort of disorder, I think, that I've had. I think, to be honest with you, the reason I smoked a little weed the last few years was to calm myself down. Just because I've just sort of, I was sitting around there doing a show in my living room. And it's like bouncing off the walls. I need to calm down. This stuff's, I've got too much energy. But now I want that energy back. Because I'm traveling and I'm working a
I
lot.
want that old thing back.
Do you people smoke when they do the show at the house?
Oh, they have, sure, yeah. I mean, I won't say who, but
You don't show it on camera.
never on camera, no. But yeah, people always, it's cool,
Snoop smoked.
Has Snoop done the show?
Snoop hasn't done the show. Actually.
Snoop, why are you making him feel
Snoop's
bad? Snoop
gotta
hasn't
do
done
the
the
show.
show yet.
Yeah.
Snoop's got to do the show, and he's got to smoke.
I jumped up on stage with Snoop, though, at the Playboy Mansion and rapped with him once.
How was that?
It was pretty cool.
Did you get laid? Have you ever gotten laid at the Playboy Mansion?
At the mansion?
Or with someone you met at the mansion?
Someone I met at the mansion?
Have you banged any Playboy chicks, man?
Never anyone that I've met at the mansion, no.
But is it crazy? Is the mansion stuff crazy? Syph and I don't get invited to things like that.
Have you guys been up there before?
Of course
We
not.
don't get
Of course
invited to
not.
shit,
Come on.
man.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a piece of history, man. It's a pretty exciting place to go
Are
visit.
there titties everywhere?
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Just out.
Yeah, they do this thing now where they paint their bodies, so
Yeah.
they're all painted.
That's fine. I'm fine with painted breasts.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
it's pretty good.
Do you have a tough time?
Painting breasts?
No.
Oh.
Talking to chicks who are really hot and stupid? Is that hard for you?
No, I love that.
You're good at that?
I'm good at
I have
that.
no game when it comes to hot, stupid chicks. Can't do it. Don't know what to say. My jokes go over their head. It's awkward. I end up making fun of myself. They don't get the self-deprecation. It just seems awful, and then it ends.
Oh, I just don't worry about that part of it, though. Just
What do you do? What's your approach?
Your tits are hot.
Do you think he says that?
I don't know. I know. I know what you're saying now. I mean, it can be annoying, is what you're saying.
Well, I don't. I get uncomfortable because
I have to talk to a girl that's pretty decent in the smarts department
Yeah.
to get my humor.
Yeah.
right, because that's you're only in.
That's all.
You're
I got.
not gonna suave them.
It's all I got.
So it's just gonna be jokes.
Yeah.
But my jokes aren't gonna be able.
Well, I'd say that's probably the downside of the Playboy Mansion, or just some girls in LA in general. There's a lot of that.
There's a
but
lot.
But you got to find the I don't really generally. I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. I'm not sure how I feel about how.
But you were famous enough where it's just kind of like.
Oh my God, Tom Green.
And if you had the balls to do it, you really could just be at the point where it's like, you really should suck my dick just to say you suck Tom Green's dick. And there's a lot of girls that would do it when you're at that point.
Really? Where are they?
They were there.
Huh?
They're still around. There's still a few straggling.
You guys have them on your Twitter feed, maybe? You can
Absolutely. I'll find out right now.
Send them over to comics this week. Oh, I've got a girlfriend now, though.
Yeah, you can't do that.
But I can just look. I'm allowed
no, they
to
could
look.
be in the audience.
Yeah, I'm allowed to look.
They
You
got
let a
$20.
girl touch your testicles when your incision or your
Yeah.
at your show.
That's right. I don't do that bit anymore. Actually.
Why not?
I just kind of
No more gross out for
got
Tom
tired
Green.
of people touching me. I should be honest with you.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fine.
well, because I do this bit. I was doing this bit where I would reveal my testicular cancer incision, right? Because I felt for a while there, I felt the need to really let people know that when they remove your testicle, right? They don't cut your scrotum up and chop up your scrotum, right? They're going from above, like they're not going in and hacking your ball sack apart, right? I don't have some Frankenstein fucking stitched up
Already
Oh,
fucking
has a
ball
seam in
sack
it.
all sewn together like a fucking an apple doll or something like that. It's they cut you up here, up above, like, and they go in, they sort of reach in there and they shuck it out like an oyster, basically.
Delicious.
But I felt more comfortable with the audience knowing that my scrotum was completely intact. So the first few months of doing the show, I kind of felt, the need to actually show people to prove it, right? Actually, I was in Australia once, and I did that bit. This was around when I stopped doing the bit. I did that bit, and then some woman yelled out in the audience, "That's a hernia incision!" Sort of basically implying that, no, my scrotum is completely hacked up into pieces, right?
that's not
So then I got really pissed off at her, I was like, I almost wanted to go stick my ball sack in her face, right? And just say, look at this, it's completely fucking intact.
Look at these balls.
Look at this. This is fucking perfect. Perfect. Perfect fucking sack.
Look at this sack.
But I didn't do it. But so I just decided to leave that part of the act out altogether. I do talk about my experience with testicular cancer, though, and I talk about.
Can you tell us about realizing that you had it and what you felt? Because every guy, I think I can speak for most guys, I think I have testicular cancer once a month.
Yeah, I basically felt like
You're Jewish.
I know. So we always think we have
You're a
something.
hypochondriac.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But tell us what it really is. Because every time I feel a pain, I go, oh, it's testicular cancer.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
knock on wood, it hasn't been.
you should be very vigilant about it. To me, it was more like a dull throbbing that didn't go away.
For how long?
It just didn't go away.
At all.
Well, I went to the doctor after about a month, maybe 3 weeks.
My balls have been hurting for 3 weeks straight. Straight.
Really?
No, not me. You.
Oh.
That's the feeling you had.
Oh yeah. I thought you were saying yours have been.
Because
I was
you
like, go to
really,
the doctor
the
now.
look of concern was
Yeah,
really.
the real
He was like,
concern.
"You really should go."
Yeah. No, I felt something felt a little odd, and then and it was the right testicle was definitely bigger. It was growing. It felt a little bigger. It's sort of like it was swollen or something, but hard though, hard.
Oh,
Hard to the touch.
Yeah. It was like there was a golf ball in there that was like growing extra.
So it wasn't that you felt an extra lump or bump in it.
It was like a bump. It was like a bump.
But a big bump.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was just sort of like extra bump on. It was a big bump, but not like giant. It was like I had a grapefruit growing in my.
But it wasn't like
ball sack
But it
or
also
something.
wasn't like you had a big pimple growth. It was like
it was
bigger.
it was inside. There was something going on inside. You could everything looked pretty normal. But then it was also this sort of dull pain, and you just know something's wrong. And then I was thinking, okay, it's going to go away. It's going to go away after a couple of days. Maybe I just fucking
Strained
hit
or
it on a door or something like that. I don't know. I crashed into a fucking car door. Or
You do a lot
something
of
like that.
shit.
Yeah, and I was doing a lot of physical comedy at the time too. I actually remember thinking I'd just done this bit where I rode my skateboard on MTV on the studio show down a ramp and through a pyramid of garbage cans. Okay,
I remember that.
Yeah. So that was right before, and I thought, did I nail my nuts on a garbage can? I was thinking, maybe that's just going to go. And then after about 3 weeks of just thinking about this, I go, I really got to do something. So I went to the doctor, and it was misdiagnosed. Okay, went to the doctor. They said, oh, it's not cancer. Just take these antibiotics; it'll go away. Damn. So I took these antibiotics, drove to San Francisco. Then I shot a show. Then I went up to Ottawa and shot another show with Monica Lewinsky, where I took Monica Lewinsky to Ottawa
Classic.
and woke up my parents with Monica Lewinsky.
Huge.
The whole time, my balls are fucking killing me. Right? I'm thinking like, Jesus, man, this is the whole time I'm doing all this, and then I went back after about 3 weeks of that. After taking the antibiotics, it didn't work. I went back to another doctor, and then I went back to the same doctor, and they were, oh, wait a minute. They realized it was cancer. So, but the thing is, a lot of kids out there, if you're listening, go to the doctor right away, because what happens is people get embarrassed, right? They get embarrassed. They don't want to go to the doctor. They don't want to talk about it, and they wait like a year or 6 months. And meanwhile, this shit's growing, and then it spreads to your lymph nodes and spreads to your lungs.
So they got it pretty early.
They got it early. I got it early. I didn't have to have chemotherapy or anything.
You'll start feeling, in other words, you'll start feeling the growth and the pain relatively early in the process.
Yes, absolutely.
And then it's just a matter of waiting.
It hits young people. Hits people mostly between the age of 15 and 40.
really?
Yeah. And kids don't think oh, I got cancer. Nobody thinks they got cancer when you're 25 years old. You don't think you have cancer, right? So you figure I'll just wait it out. But no, that's the worst mistake. There was a kid that was in the hospital in the room right next to me, 24-year-old kid. Who I remember meeting because he wanted to meet me because he knew my show and stuff, and I went over and met him and everything, and then he ended up dying. He had it same thing, but he had it a little further along.
How much further along?
He just probably he waited a little too long or didn't know about it early enough. I don't know what specifically happened. I don't remember how much further along, but I remember going back to the hospital a few years later and because I'd go back for checkups for the first couple of years, and the doctor told me, oh, that guy didn't make it. So you really gotta take it seriously. Yeah.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah. Changes your whole outlook, but it's the most. It really makes me very much more conscious of health stuff. Which is why I'm kind of cutting back on the booze and smoking and all this stuff because, why I don't want to guilt trip you guys though. I know you guys smoke a lot of weed.
No,
He doesn't do anything.
I don't smoke or drink.
He doesn't do anything. He's fine.
I
He just
eat
eats
a
like
lot of
a
junk.
fucking whore of a
lot of
pig.
junk food though.
Yeah, sure. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
The special he did on them with the bouncing balls, the actual airy balls bouncing across the words.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious and informative.
Yeah, that was I dealt with it by making a television special about it. We filmed everything, and I get letters all the time from kids around the world who have saw that show and caught their cancer early because of it. So it's actually been a very
That's awesome.
I don't know
fulfilling
how you
thing
can
for me.
open up that much. So, man.
Why? I mean, there's not really anything embarrassing. I guess I see things differently. I'm the one on the show who kind of will talk about
Learn
disgusting
out anything
things.
in his life.
Yeah, I'll talk about anything in my life too. And I don't think there's anything embarrassing about that, except for showing your. I mean, maybe about showing your. I wouldn't want to show my fat, hairy body, but I wouldn't mind them seeing the incision and the.
Yeah, it was kind of an odd decision to decide to do that show. Basically, what happened was we'd been doing the show in New York for about 6 months or 8 months, and then we decided we were going to move the show to L.A. because it was actually getting hard for us to shoot videos out in the street in New York. There's so many people on the streets, and when we go out with a camera, people would spot me, and then they'd kind of, want to be in the shot, and it was impossible to pull pranks on people. So we thought, let's move to L.A. We'll go shoot in L.A. for a while. So we moved the whole show to L.A. Half my staff who'd been living in New York. People sold their apartments. People moved out to L.A. We had this hit show. We figured we were going to be in the air for years. Went out to L.A., did 3-4 episodes, and then all of a sudden I got cancer. I had to quit the show, because I was going to have to deal with this for the next 6-8 months, a year type of thing.
But did you end up having to deal with it for that long?
Yeah, because I got cut up here too, lymph nodes, incision, got my whole body was split apart, and I was basically just sort of in recovery mode for like 6 months. It was so kind of stopped the show altogether. And then at that point, the show was so physical. I was so cut up and I didn't really feel like I could continue going out in the street and throwing my body around after that. So I went and made like some movies and stuff and just sort of took it easy for a few years and a little less physical stuff. But I felt bad because the crew was kind of like, these were writers and stuff, and they had moved out there. I thought, well, let's, rather than just walking in the office one day and saying, okay, everybody pack up your desk, we're gone. I said, okay. I walked in. I said, okay, guys, got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is I got cancer. The good news is we're going to film it. So let's work for another 6 or 8 weeks on this thing.
So you gave people a little bit of time to have something to do.
Yeah, and it was, we'd done so much crazy stuff. My life was such an open book, filming with my parents and doing all that stuff. It almost seemed like it would have been,
out of character. Yeah.
Odd to not do it. And I felt it was very cathartic to be able to talk about it because, all of a sudden it gave me the opportunity to talk about it. I do sometimes think that, maybe sometimes, if it wasn't for the fact that I get so many good messages from people who I think it actually saved lives. I know it does because I get lots of people tell me this every day. People come up to me MTV was the show was so big at the time on MTV, and MTV hit so many young people. And I tell you, as I'm touring doing stand-up, without fail, every week or two, somebody comes up to me after my show very emotionally and essentially tells me if it wasn't for that show, they wouldn't have caught their cancer.
Shit.
So for that reason, I'm glad I did. I often think, though, man, if it wasn't for that, it's like, sometimes I think, did I really have to do that? I mean, because now everybody in the world knows. It's like, I'm walking down the street and people go, hey, Tom, how's your ball doing? I'm like, well, pretty fucking good,
It's gone.
Thanks. I survived, asshole. I fucking
I beat
survived.
it.
It's like, so it's people.
Yeah,
People
rough.
sometimes are insensitive about it because they don't think, like you don't go up to somebody who had breast cancer and say, hey, how's your tits doing?
But you made so much fun about it, though. That's why.
I know. And it's very strange. It's a very strange thing that happens because, I'm still sensitive about it. You know? That's why I joke about it. But
you're still sensitive, right? And that's hard for people to realize.
Yeah.
All right, we got to let this guy go.
Longest podcast in history?
No. This is average.
I'm not talking too much.
I wish, though, before you left, I wish we could just call Hollywood Humplick. How's Hollywood Humplick doing?
Hollywood Humplick's doing good. He's doing good. He's up in Canada.
You talk to him a lot?
You know what? I'm actually not really allowed to talk about him.
Oh, my God. That's a disappointing way to bring up Hollywood
Is he
Humplick.
black?